Mm.
Yeah, welcome to this room where we really feel like home, or being at home. And although we are joining from different parts of the world and from all over the world, we really feel as one being here together. And we feel so very grateful and deeply touched that Jon Kabat-Zinn is with us today, joining us for this meditation. He will be guiding a meditation, and after the guided meditation there will also be a dialogue part where you can ask questions. And yeah, so while people are still joining, you can also, if you like, while we are starting, click or scroll through the gallery view and look at each other's faces and really drink in the presence and the beauty of all the people here. Yeah, it has been 2 weeks now since Russian forces invaded Ukraine. And since that date, there hasn't been one day where I didn't cry. So I'm really crying every day, and really feeling the enormous suffering and the enormous pain, this huge pain that is connected with the unfolding. And it impacts the whole world. And of course, there are so many places on earth where people are suffering, where beings are suffering. And since that date, since 2 weeks, I was feeling, or I have been feeling, so much anxiety, so much sadness, so much pain in my heart, and also difficulties to sleep. And it was in one sleepless night where I thought about what to do, what to do, what to do. And then I remembered Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind by Shunryu Suzuki. This book has always been a source for comfort for me for years. And I remembered how he taught, assume that your child is hopelessly ill. What can you do? You can sit, you can sit, you can practice zazen, you can practice sitting meditation. And then I thought, okay, then just let's sit, let's begin this sitting meditation and do this every day. Because in the Map of Love workspace, in the Slack Map of Love workspace, we are already offering, or we have been offering almost daily sitting meditation practices, and also MBSR sessions. So I thought that we could add more sitting meditation and do it really every day from Monday to Sunday, because there's no end to the practice. And so we started, Thomas and I, we sat down and we started to write this newsletter inviting everyone to join us and to be sitting with us every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and focusing on compassion, focusing on interconnectedness, and of course focusing on the body, grounding ourselves in the body and anchoring ourselves in the breath. And while so much pain is happening I would also love to share with you what I do in the mornings, because every morning I walk with Benjamin, with our 10-year-old son, to school. We walk to his school, and I see so many children, school children. They are also walking to school, and at the same time, while facing the beauty around me, like the sun or birds, and also Benjamin talking and sharing with me, I also at the same time feel the suffering of the beings all over the world. And then when Benjamin goes into school and I walk back, I always walk through the park. And then there's really magic happening, especially in these times. So many birds, so many trees, huge trees, and flowers beginning to blossom. And I look at that, and I hear the soundscape of the birds, and also smelling the trees. And then I also watched a rabbit running over the meadow, geese, and then I also watched two woodpeckers, really as if they were dancing in the air right in front of me. And I was so deeply touched by this beauty. And at the same time, when I walk through the park, I'm crying. So there are tears really flowing down over my cheeks, and at the same time feeling so much pain. So there's so much beauty and there's so much pain, there's so much suffering. And then the question, what can hold it all? What is it that can hold this all? Where is the space for this? And then I return back to my heart. It's always in the heart. It's always awareness, always our true nature. And while walking through the park, I'm also always reminded of Thich Nhat Hanh's words. And there is a poem I would love to recite before I hand it over to you, Jon. It's the poem by Thich Nhat Hanh, Please Call Me By My True Names. Please call me by my true names. Don't say that I will depart tomorrow. Even today, I am still arriving. Look deeply. Every second, I am arriving to be a bud on a spring branch, to be a tiny bird with still fragile wings, learning to sing in my new nest, to be a caterpillar in the heart of a flower, to be a jewel hiding itself in a stone. I still arrive in order to laugh and to cry, to fear and to hope. The rhythm of my heart is the birth and death of all that is alive. I am the mayfly metamorphosing on the surface of the river, and I am the bird that swoops down to swallow the mayfly. I am the frog swimming happily in the clear water of a pond, and I am the grass snake that silently feeds itself on the frog. I am the child in Uganda, all skin and bones, my legs as thin as bamboo sticks, and I am the arms merchant selling deadly weapons to Uganda. I am the 12-year-old girl, refugee on a small boat, who throws herself into the ocean after being raped by a sea pirate. And I am the pirate, my heart not yet capable of seeing and loving. I am a member of the Politburo with plenty of power in my hands. And I am the man who has to pay his debt of blood to my people, dying slowly in a forced labor camp. My joy is like spring, so warm, it makes flowers bloom all over the earth. My pain is like a river of tears, so vast it fills the four oceans. Please call me by my true names, so I can hear all my cries and my laughter at once, so I can see that my joy and pain are one. Please call me by my true names, so I can wake up, and so the door of my heart can be left open, the door of compassion.
Skipping all the niceties and hellos and welcomes at this particular moment in time. Following in your heart the vector of Thai's words. A teacher who recently left us. But who himself would say, never left us. That there is nothing but profound interconnectedness. And each of us, not just him, is in our true nature. Everything. So whatever it was that brought you here, and there are now well over 800 of us gathered together again from around the world at a very, very horrific moment on the planet. Many horrific moments which are happening all the time, as the poem suggested, are fairly invisible or take looking to find them and to let our hearts resonate with them. But what's going on in Ukraine at the moment and in the countries surrounding it in Europe who are receiving the refugees is not something we have to search for. It's in our faces. And it's an open wound that just goes on. So before we fall into any kind of conversation, let's actually take Perry's invitation, Ty's invitation, and just be the knowing of it all, including the not knowing and all the emotion and the not knowing what to do or how to be with it. And the gesture of at least us tuning in together at this particular moment, which itself is a kind of signature affirmation of profound intentionality and connectedness and wisdom and compassion, including for our I want to say lost selves or fragmented selves, where maybe we've not recognized all our true names. And now it's in our faces. And can we actually be here in the midst of the full catastrophe of it all? With the kind of silence and stability, and even in some sense, equanimity that doesn't at all belie the turmoil and the anxiety and the fear and the anger and the infinite bewilderment and the conundrum of how to bring an end to this form of violence, madness. So taking up residency in this only moment you or I will ever have. And falling into wakefulness. Opening to the silence. And into the heart that is actually capable of holding it all. Suspended in time, in no time. And in touch with all of the dimensions of our humanity. Right here, right now. At a time like this, taking our seats and opening to the fullness of our humanity, including all the grief and the trauma and the rending, is sometimes called bearing witness. We're bearing witness to really a profound element of the human condition. Exactly what Thich Nhat Hanh is pointing to in speaking about our true names. Sometimes we don't want to face that we harbor murderous intentions in moments, or fear other people and dehumanize them, or put them in groups that we then dismiss as not really worthy of compassion. And of course, the more you are aware of it, the more you can, in some sense, heal those profound tendencies to find someone else at fault. And at a particular moment like this, where in the midst of all the other inflammatory things that are going on the planet, we have this brutal, wanton invasion of a sovereign country that wasn't doing anything, but where a story is concocted in the minds of some people, where it justifies eradicating human beings in their homes. Well, they're not doing anything other than being human in their homes and being, in some sense, the object of a small number of people's, what is it? Fear? Desire? Feeling of incompleteness, that a country that spans 11 time zones needs to kill innocent men, women, and children for no reason whatsoever, except the figments of their own narratives that are just that. They're just narratives. And yet we have to be careful that we don't fall into equally toxic or darkening narratives that are making, somebody the enemy and generalizing that to a whole class of people, when it's actually, something other than that. And we don't need to go into the sources of all of this madness. And we don't need to go into making some people right and some people wrong. I grew up on the Vietnam War that decimated Thich Nhat Hanh's country. I remember the Battle of Hue. I remember all of the bombings. We had them on television every single day. And that was the Americans bombing men, women, and children into oblivion. And there was a narrative around it, and people believed the narrative in the United States until they didn't. But how many people had to die for no reason, really, except the concocted reasons of people who like to think about power and economics and trade and elites that have more rights than other people. And not just Vietnam. I mean, you know, it just goes on and on and on and on. But every generation, there are more horrific weapons that are brought to bear, more killing power. And if you plot it out as a function of time, it really looks like the equation is suggesting that if we don't wake up, we are going to make a very big mistake here. People are talking about World War III and, you know, nuclear Armageddon, you know, if NATO transgresses. And, you know, these are very, very real issues. And one madman or one mistake on the part of anybody, and then it's just another unthinkable level. So how can we be in relationship to this? And what is it that we can do? How can we contribute? And basically, I think Thich Nhat Hanh got it right. We have to be the embrace of wisdom and compassion. We have to see the other in ourselves. We have to recognize that this could also be us. And in that sense, do whatever it is that we can, begin to take risks of one kind or another that maybe disrupt our comfortable lives in one way or another. And I don't know what they are any more than you do, but some of them may be just, you know, reaching out to other people who have different views. The Chinese, I watched the news the other day, and the Chinese newscaster is like broadcasting, traveling with the Russian army and broadcasting everything the Russian propaganda machine is saying to the entire Chinese nation. They're not getting any alternative view. So what is the actuality here? And you've got these giant global sources of incredible violence, cultivating ignorance in the most cynical of ways. And of course, those forces are at play in my country big time as well, where truth is fiction and fiction is truth. It's George Orwell writ large. And I've been saying forever, you know, that, if we're talking about stress, we have to actually understand who the patient is here. It's not just people with chronic pain conditions. It's the whole planet. It's world stress. We are, in some sense, and maybe some of you have heard me say this before, but we're the kind of autoimmune disease of planet Earth. And we're the ones that built the nuclear weapons, and we're the arms manufacturers and the arms dealers, as Thich Nhat Hanh says in the poem, that are making money hand over fist, because with every war, you've got to resupply the weapons for, you know, the next month or the next year or the next decade or the next war. And at some point, we need to diagnose this problem once and for all as a species, because we're the autoimmune disease of planet Earth. And even if there were no war, we have the war with ourselves with global warming and the disastrous consequences facing future generations if we don't call ourselves by our true names and then act in a certain way. If we don't, and so that's why I love this community, because there's a certain way in which, why did you tune in today? I mean, the reason you tuned in every single one of our cases may be different, but there's something profoundly trustworthy about it. That the intersection of your life and the world and this moment in time, it's like you could have done anything else, but you chose to be here. There's something in this that's really important. There's something about the recognition of our common humanity that's really important, and that's actionable. It's not just passivity, sitting on your meditation cushion or chanting Om or the Heart Sutra. As important and beautiful as those are, but there's a time when we need to act, or our doing needs to come out of being, and then it's an entirely different doing. And of course, you've heard me say this forever. I'm not saying anything new, but it needs to be enacted in a way that's adequate to the challenges that we're facing on this planet. And Ukraine is showing us that even in this day and age where we didn't think this was possible, and even though it's playing out on all social media so that anybody could see what's going on, people are not seeing what's going on. And then we don't know how to stop it. And if you're in Europe, you know, I mean, people are pouring across the border from Ukraine, mothers and babies and children and wounded people. And there are an awful lot of Europeans that are moving to Poland, going to Poland and to Hungary and Romania, and bringing people back into, you know, their countries and stretching their own envelopes, and not just bearing witness, but actually taking action in whatever ways we can, because what does it mean for our humanity if we don't? What kind of responsibilities do we have, again, as cells of the one body politic of the planet? And if we don't help our fellow human beings in whatever ways we can. And sometimes that helping is just bearing witness. Just bearing witness is huge. And then articulating it. And taking action, moving your body to some other place, or sending your money to some other place, or whatever it is. And it will never be enough. And we know that it will never be enough. The only work that's really possible is if we transform ourselves, if we wake up as a species. And you know, that may be in the cards. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We do not know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't even know what's going to happen in the next moment. But we do know that we're inhabiting this moment. And if we inhabit this moment, in the next moment, it's going to be different. We're changing the future by our willingness to inhabit this moment with full compassion, with full open-heartedness, with full awareness in this only moment that we have. And that's a radical act in and of itself. And it's a radical act of both healing and transformation. And in the body politic of the world, the more of us who are doing this, I mean, there are 6 or 8 people at the moment here. And every one of us knows lots of people. How can we actually, you know, so our potential influence in the world is profound just by how we be and by how we act. And there's no script, there's no protocol, there's no catechism or one way to let our hearts sing and influence the world in whatever ways we can, even the forces of darkness. And so trusting in our intuition to be able to, each one of us, find 5 ways that we might contribute in one way or another. And holding down the fort by sitting still is absolutely essential. That's certainly one of them. And to realize how much turmoil there is, to just even at a distance, never mind in Mariupol at the moment, or in Lviv or Kiev, to bear witness to what is unfolding. And this has been unfolding since the beginning of time, since the beginning of human history. all civilizations in Yeats's terms, whole civilizations put to the sword. But then it's almost impossible to kill our love. No matter even World War I, World War II, enormity, the unthinkable enormity of the suffering and the loss and the death. And that's to say nothing about, the rape of Nanking, and you can choose wherever you want to look and find that kind of violence. There's also the beauty that Thich Nhat Hanh was pointing to. And when he's pointing out flowers, he's pointing at us. We're the flowers. We're the woodpeckers. We're the butterflies. We're the trees that afford homes for other people. We're human potentiality right here in this timeless moment we call now. And so really what's called for is in some sense just a radical act of love, that this is part of the love affair, is to, hard as it is, to take in the enormity, the unthinkable magnitude of the terror and the horror and the maiming and the killing of children, and then act in whatever ways feel like they have integrity. Tiny little ways are never tiny. You may think, oh, well, who am I? There's nothing I can do. Just sitting changes the world. It's not sufficient, but it's necessary. Just treating people who you may not treat with as much kindness or dignity or respect because you've got them in a box. You've othered them in one way or another. Just recognizing that is a radical act of compassion. It's a bearing witness to suffering in the world, and it's someplace where we can actually influence it. It's very hard to come up with, the solution to what the world needs to do, what NATO needs to do, what the Russian people need to do, because the unthinkable suffering of the Russian people over the past several hundred years, from the era of serfdom and then through the various revolutions that have not been revolutions of the people, but in fact of elites that have completely imprisoned the population. It's a mystery how healing happens, but we can never give up hope and never give up the possibility that there's something tiny, some tiny little something that we can offer to the world without attachment to outcome that may actually make a profound difference in even, say, one child or one mother or one person's life forever. And there are stories of this writ large and small in every single culture on the planet. So what option do we have other than to be ourselves? That's the best thing we can give to the world, is to give ourselves up completely to the world, moment by moment by moment by moment, and let our doing come out of being and come out of the cultivation of intimacy with wisdom, with recognizing the tendency to create harm, and in the recognizing, liberating that tendency to create harm, and then perhaps maybe being able to offer some solace, some healing, some recognition of humanity in the face of inhumanity. And so this is the meditation practice. This is, it's not separate from just sitting. This is the meditation practice. And we didn't ask for this, but it would have been the meditation practice even if Ukraine had never been attacked. As Perry said at the beginning, there's this, infinite suffering in the world. It's not just there, but this is like, at the moment, the most, horrific example of it unfolding right before our very eyes. And it's very easy to feel helpless, but we're not. We can't change everything, but we can actually act in ways that may contribute to some degree of healing. So I don't want to go on in this vein. I never had anything to say in the first place. It's just that the time is such that, I said yes to Perry because how could I say no? And scanning through the thumbnails of all of you, because I have this set up in gallery view at the moment, and seeing so many people from the mitigation retreat, which is now 1.5 years ago. And just the sense that there is a global community that's growing and spreading virally, much like COVID. But it's a meme of compassion. It's a meme of embodied wisdom. It's a meme of enacting, of living out of your goodness and generosity. And if you don't mind my saying, understanding the nature of self, or the selfless nature of self, might be a better way to put it. And so I think at this point, what I'd like to do, and I'm just seeing so many people that I know and sort of really am thrilled to see again. I will not be calling you out because I'm just as happy to see all the people that I don't know or don't recognize, or, maybe the picture is too dull for me to see, or you're too far away, but just what a beautiful gift for us to all come together in this way and to just take in that we ourselves, in some sense, have a profound capacity to embody and instantiate goodness in the world. And that it's very important that we not feel hopeless or helpless or get depressed, even if we're depressed and even if we're terrified, that we have to rise to the occasion in the same way that the people in Ukraine are rising to the occasion under unimaginable circumstances, but that keep happening, as I said, over and over and over again on the planet. So shall we open it up for a bit for some dialogue or Q&A or whatever you want to call it, and just recognize that we won't have a lot of time to do that, but we'll have maybe another 35 minutes and to just give voice to what you're feeling. And if you have any particular discoveries that you've made inside yourself that might be valuable to share with each other, with us at this particular moment. So let's just start with Jackie. And I don't know if you can unmute yourself or whether Perry has to unmute you, but I've got a lineup of hands here. So let's go with it. Jackie?
Yeah, before we start, just to let you know, we are recording this session, so when you're in dialogue,
Oh, good
you
point.
will be visible.
You will be visible, and we will also put this video on our Map of Love YouTube channel, so you will be seen. Okay?
Yeah. So if you don't want to be seen, don't raise your hand. Okay, so Jackie, I was calling on you, but somebody has to unmute you, I guess, if you can't unmute yourself.
Jackie, now you can unmute yourself.
Okay. Are we with each other?
Go ahead.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Am I being heard at all?
Yes, you are.
Okay, I'm blessed today. Thank you. Thank you. I've been with you for the 13 weeks and your meditations and your books. And I thank you for today. We need it desperately. We need to be together during this time. Too many tears are being shed and we feel helpless, but we need to maintain our hope. And I thank you for helping us on this journey. That's all I have to offer. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a lot. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste. Mada, is that how you pronounce it?
Unmute. Okay. Hello, everybody. Hello, Jon Kabat-Zinn. You're so much loved. It's amazing. I have to shut down. The cell phone decided to ring. I would like just to express certain things that I've been feeling. Extreme sadness, of course, but something that's alive in me right now when I saw especially the mobilization with everything that's happened in the Ukraine. My heart seemed to go to all of the other amazing sufferings that have been happening in the Amazon, in Yemen, in Somalia, in the Palestine, and in Africa in general, and a feeling that how can we be equanimous and how can we hold the whole world and especially have an eye, I can't believe this. Okay, sorry. But how to have an eye to witness that which has not been put on the press, that which is not so much viewed somehow. So right now, it occurred to me something that happened recently in Colombia. So a young girl was raped, 11 years old, seven men from a guerrilla. And that touches me very much because I always sense, where is the interest? How can we build an interest for that which doesn't go to the press? This is my feeling right now.
Yeah. And where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Botucatu, Brazil. So bringing what's happening to the Amazon and to Brazil in general as well. and very happy to be sharing this with you all.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, there's really no words to respond to the enormity of that kind of violence and the lack of recognition of, humanity and the innocence. But just a deep bow to you for articulating it. Sometimes that's the most important thing at the moment, is to just name it and to stand up as you obviously are in one way or another. And of course, Brazil harbors a large part of what are often called the lungs of the planet. So there's a whole other way in which violence is being done to the rainforest that is completely irreversible because we don't have another set of lungs. So thank you. Keep up the one great work in whatever ways you can without burning yourself out. That the world does not benefit from you losing your mind right at the moment or burning out your body right at the moment when you most need it. So we need to sort of find a kind of active yoga of balance so that we can act in the world, but we're in some kind of long-term, at least, equilibrium so that we don't destroy ourselves, because the world doesn't need us all to kind of become martyrs. Esther?
Hello, I'm Esther Brandon. And I just wanted to take a moment to say hello to you. Of course, you don't know who I am, but that doesn't matter.
I hardly know who I am, so I wouldn't.
But I wanted to take a moment, and this may be too, well, no, I'm just going to do it. I just wanted to say hello to you, because seeing you today gives me such peace of mind and hope, because I met you before you started the program at the hospital.
Wow.
I walked into a church in Watertown, and I can't remember the name of the organization.
Interface.
What?
Interface.
Okay. Interface.
You were in my yoga class and
No, not yoga. You were doing a meditation introduction.
Okay.
You were introducing me. I had no idea what you were even talking about, but I was a yoga person, so it wasn't like weird to me. I just had never heard of it. I had done some yoga. I'd gone to Kripalu once or twice. So you're sitting and doing all this, and I had just been through a terribly difficult situation in my life. And you asked me to, I guess, if I wanted to meditate with you or to like do an introduction. And after I did that introduction with you, you introduced me to meditate basically in front of the group. And after I did that, I then began my practice. Like, I don't know how many years ago it was now, but seeing you right now today, because watching what's happening in the world has been, of course, terribly upsetting, especially as a Jewish woman who lost a lot in our ancestral history and the Holocaust. It's been just a very difficult time for all of us, but certainly I've been having a hard time. Coming and sitting and just seeing your face and hearing your relaxed way of speaking, I just feel hope right now, because the endurance of relationships, and I don't want to overemphasize this relationship, but it is a metaphor for me. I met you before you even started the work at the hospital. and this has endured. So I just thank you for being online today. You have made me, I'm going to sleep better tonight.
That is so sweet, Esther, and really nice to reconnect with you over all of these years. You know, it's really beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Be well. And Christina.
What a blessing. My name is Christina. I am originally from Rio, Brazil, and I live in Southern California. And I was part of the mitigation retreat during pandemic. And I want just to share that when the conflict began, I am part of the Jon Kabat-Zinn playback group, coordinated by Pat and Pam. And one of the things that came to my mind, John, was, okay, what would Jon Kabat-Zinn do? What would he react to this moment right now? And one thing that stayed with me in my life, and I'm passing to my kids and to their friends, is life is the curriculum. And I don't want to react to this situation. I want that my action, what am I going to do next, comes from my being. And I joined, that's why I'm here today, but I joined the group. And okay, what would Jon Kabat-Zinn do? I remember being curious, not judgmental, right? Let me be curious. I don't know anything about Ukraine. And then I have all these friends in Brazil blaming the United States for what's happening. And so, okay, no reaction, Christina. Be curious. And that your action comes from being. That's what I learned with John. And what it came to me was, what can I nurture the being? Does that make sense, John? How can I nurture the being so that the action could come from this being? And what it came to me is the sitting and observing what's going on and going deep inside. And when Patty and Thomas, now, thank you so much for reading that poem, because I was part of all the funeral ceremonies for Thich Nhat Hanh. And one of the things he said was, and I just feel like I'm so happy to be able to share that, John, is I cannot, when he was talking about Vietnam, he said, and that's what I want to share with everybody, because I'm feeling like, it's like we're all, there's 600 people, we are all sitting in the same room.
We are.
He said, I cannot stop the tanks. I cannot stop the suffering. That's Thich Nhat Hanh saying about the Vietnam.
Yeah.
But I can water the seeds of joy and peace within myself. And John, I think that's what we are doing here today. Like I see us all sitting together, and we are watering the seeds of joy and peace within ourselves, so that we can then find what the act is. But we first need to nurture the being. So I want to thank you, because from that mitigation retreat, look how many seeds you watered. You helped water, you and Soren and everybody. I don't want to put you on the spot.
And look at the sprout in the form of Christina. I mean, what you're saying is so profound, and it's coming out of you now, not out of me. So, and you know, we're all in this together in that sense. We're all expressions of the one life, but every single expression is sort of uniquely powerful, even if we're all practicing basically in the similar way or drinking from the same well, so to speak. So I can't thank you enough for the beauty of what it is that you're conveying. And again, we need to hear it 50 billion times, because we tend to go unconscious or fall into fear so easily. And this is a moment where we really need to fall into love in a much more profound way and let the fear just be like clouds that come and go.
Absolutely. And just to finish, John, when I decided that I was not going to react or join any organization, but sit with the seeds and nurture the seeds, watching the videos again and connecting and sitting, my neighbor sent me an invitation. She has a friend from Ukraine, and they are going to put toys and things on a shoebox for the kids, and she's going to fly them. And it happened in my door, you know. So I went to Walmart to get the book as if I was doing for my sons.
Right.
So
Beautiful.
and I know more seeds are going to come. So thank you for these seeds that are spreading, and we are together. Thank you so much. We are together.
Thank you, Christina.
Obrigada. Obrigada.
Sinead, is that how you pronounce it? Or?
Yeah, it's Sinead, almost right. Sinead.
Thank
Thanks.
you. I apologize for my ignorance.
Oh, no, you're doing well.
My Irish ignorance.
Not at all. And thanks, Perry and Thomas, for hosting this, and especially to Perry for taking the initiative to set up an extra meditation in the evening times to bring us together in the evening. And John, I just wanted to really say, in terms of bearing witness, I think I come from Northern Ireland and I have worked on personal accounts of the conflict, and I think it's one of the greatest things that we can do. And so I was so pleased to hear you reinforcing that. And I see this as this present moment of us all being together, as Thich Nhat Hanh would say, as a wonderful moment, truly and utterly wonderful moment in which we are bearing witness. We aren't part of the propaganda. We are seeing the stories as they unfold with our own eyes, with our own ears, with our own tears. And we can pass that on and hear that. And that's been so important in conflicts all around the world. And the international truth commissions, the South African Truth Commission, and Desmond Tutu, listening to those stories which were never told and which eat people alive. And we are seeing that. And as best we can, turning towards those stories and looking after ourselves and turning away when we can't. And there are remembering the stories that are coming out of Russia of the people who are also suffering in Russia, the 6,000 people who have been imprisoned, the children who have been imprisoned, the people who have fled Russia because they've disagreed or they don't want to be perhaps taken up for conscription, and to listen to their accounts as well. And the one thing that the stories that are yet to be told are the stories of the women, the families that have fled Ukraine, who have not been wiped out, who have not been killed and maimed, and to remember that their stories are going to come out and that those women are going to galvanize and they're going to create community, and they are going to rise because they have no other choice. They will rise. And our conflicts have shown us around the world that the women will rise, and some women in some places have stopped wars. They have actually done that, and we know that. Not saying that it's going to stop this war, but there is so much rising that is yet still to be done, and to turn towards that and to watch that birth. And so really that's really all I want to say. And that our in, out, deep, slow, calm, ease, smile, release, present moment, wonderful moment of Thich Nhat Hanh is what will carry us forward. I lost myself yesterday. I got so sad yesterday, and I couldn't bring mindfulness to myself, but that was a blip. That was a blip. And I do really try to practice being the calm in the storm, being the calm in the boat, because that one person is absolutely needed in that community of women, in that community of children, in this community right here, right now. And while some of us are losing it at times, there are other of us there to help each other back up again, and to keep breathing in, breathing out, breathing deep and deep, breathing slow, and remembering that moments like this are absolutely are precious moments and wonderful moments, and to always have the light and the hope, because it's there and there is much good to come out of this right now. So thank you, and thank you for not saying no to Perry, and thank you for saying yes to Perry and Thomas. Thank you so much.
Well, again, Sinead, you know, you're just like a living, flowering example of coming out of the pain that your own country and people have lived in, which is like unthinkable. And thank you for the emphasis about the women. You know, I've been, not being a woman, I've been, you know, really thinking so much and feeling so much with the mothers that were, you know, coming across the borders of Ukraine with their children, and also the women who are staying behind and the ones who are, you know, taking up arms. I mean, this may sound kind of naive or trite, but I don't think we've begun to, Aristophanes pointed the way, but I don't think that in the past 3,000 or 4,000 years, we've even begun to tap the power that women have to set the world aright. In part because you are continually birthing the world and tending the world and nursing the world. And it's just heartbreaking to watch the destruction. And I so appreciate your reminding us that while the destruction is everywhere, it's not the whole story, even when it's terrifying and we can't even sleep, and it's, you know, and we are required to act. It's still not the whole story. And we have these profound possibilities that even our conversation in our community globally, right here on Zoom, we're all teaching each other. I mean, that's what I love about this work, is that, like, you know, I may be, you know, there's a sort of headline of this particular gathering, but the fact is that we're all teaching each other, that every single one of us is reflecting back, just like in that image of Indra's net, if you know it, where every facet of every gem in this like totally complex net actually reflects every other facet, that we're always reminding and teaching each other what we already know and what we've maybe forgotten momentarily, and also forgotten how much power we have and how much goodness we have and how beautiful we are. And we can't afford to forget that, especially in such sort of dark times or moments when it seems so dark. So a deep bow to you for the way you've, you know, shared with us how you see it at this moment and what you're feeling. It's like immeasurably valuable. Okay, is that Thai or Tao?
Yes, Tal. Wow. Thank you for being here. I just want to express a lot of gratitude. So much wisdom in this conversation with this group of people. And of course, when I joined like a week ago on a Sunday and I saw everybody, it was amazing. But I'm a teacher, so I couldn't do it. But now, today, I asked to be here. And it's a big day. I think it's a big day for all of us to be together with you, Jon, and to see how much we've been through since since the mitigation retreats. I can say personally what a journey I've done since then, with all the seeds that you planted in all of us a lot of hope during the pandemic and until now. And I think you gave me and a lot of people here a lot of confidence just doing mindfulness. Do it with everybody you can. Spread the word. We need people like you. I remember those words coming from you in this meditation retreat over and over again. I know that I see the faces of everybody looking. I know that we're doing it. Continue to do it. And just in my school today, I got the green light to teach more students next year. I said, I want to do it now, this year. I'm going to do it, and it's just amazing. So,
and where are you calling from? Just to let us know.
Yeah, I'm calling from Westchester, New York, right now, and originally from Israel. And it's the first war. I'm 45 years old. First war that I'm not in Israel. It's not a war in Israel, but it's very close, and I'm in the U.S. But I don't think there's a safe place anymore. I think we're all in this together, especially today. And it's like it's very hard. And so yeah, just thank you everybody for being here, seeing you guys again, and seeing you, Jon, today. It gives me a lot of hope. Like you guys said, my body is shaking. I really feel it in my body. I feel all this presence, all the goodness, all the love, all the compassion. And I want to say toda, thank you. That, and bevakasha. And Perry and Thomas, of course.
Absolutely.
That is a map of love. Right here. The name is so appropriate. Yep. Thank you.
So I'm not going to be able to pronounce this one, but Jilateye Efe?
Yeah, Gila Tayefanoruz.
Oh, lovely.
Originally, I'm from Iran, and I want to have sent a lot of gratitude to Perry and Thomas for having this. I really appreciate it, and also for Jon to make yourself available. I also was in your retreat during pandemic. I learned a lot, and just what Perry was saying, I'm also really feeling very sad about what's going on in Ukraine. I just want to say there's a famous poem from Sadi, one of the Iranian poets that they put on the gate of United Nations. And the abbreviation of the poem is, we human beings are each other's part. And when one part hurts, the rest of the body part, the rest of us would hurt. And then also it says, if you cannot feel the suffering of the others, you may not call yourself human being. Through your listening to you, what I got is, especially during pandemic, the importance of who we really, really are as a human being, and acceptance and appreciation for who we are. And as long as we don't come to see that, we cannot really be able to help. We have to first start with ourselves, and then being able to see the beauty and the preciousness of everyone else. And that's how we can take action. And I think at this time, what I have come to see, our weapons is only weapon of love. That's the only way that we can really fight. We can really be able to bring some equilibrium in this society. And seeing that we are all connected to all being, to animal, to the planet Earth. And That's all I want to say. Thank you. So much, again, so much gratitude to you, Jon, so much. And also to Perry and Thomas again. I sent this email I checked it with you, with a lot of people from the UU Church to friend in the mindfulness of aging. So I really appreciate it. You are doing a great job. Thank you from bottom of my heart. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So is it Beatrice?
Thank you, Jon. Thank you, Perry and Thomas. I was with you during the pandemic as well from Mexico. And well, I'll take my time because English is not my first language. I hope I manage to express myself. So I'm nearly 50, and since I'm 17, I joined movements for peace and try to think that it's the activists for peace that could change the world. And I joined a movement against the army in my home country in Spain. And now at nearly 50, I see myself looking at artists, mothers, human rights activists taking up arms in Ukraine, and somehow feeling that makes sense. And that feeling really troubles me. It's like I feel completely lost behind, in front of this feeling that these people that have been believing in peace, many of them, no, human rights activists for peace for decades, now take up arms to defend themselves, their families, and feeling that somehow this is a way to respond to reality. So, well, in a way, I want to ask if, others have this kind of feeling as well, that beside love and violence is a response, an answer as well that corresponds to what life is asking some of us to do. It's just, I have even a hard time to say it. But when I look, the reality is what comes from my heart, and it's really very scary feeling and very scary thoughts.
Yeah. No, it's very hard to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. It's very hard to put yourself in your own shoes. So under the circumstances, if your children were threatened, no amount of thinking about it beforehand will really dictate what it is that you may feel impelled to do in any particular moment. So it's, I think, a really hopeless task to try to understand anybody else's motivation or choices under those kinds of situations, because no, not everybody is Thich Nhat Hanh. Not everybody has, such a very, very strong commitment to a particular kind of non-harming ethic that under certain circumstances, they won't act to protect themselves. It's a perfectly human impulse, even if it's one that ultimately we need to try to minimize the reason for mobilizing. But that's a kind of long way off. So it's wonderful that you're recognizing that conundrum in yourself and not knowing in certain way, as I hear you say it, really not thinking that you would want to do that, or that is any part of like a reasonable response to even murderous violence. But a lot of people are going to make the choice to, as we're seeing, to stand up in the face of, it's not just the violence, it's the falsehood behind it. It's the anti-truth that needs to be named and pointed to and stood up to. And that's something that people are willing to risk their lives for. And it's really quite profound. And then, to just kind of, as best they can, respond to kind of utterly violent circumstance when you are outnumbered and don't have the kind of wherewithal to protect yourself. So very, very challenging ethical conundrum that I hope you never find yourself in a position to have to know that for yourself, unless you want to, because it's a very profound question. Ultimately, yes, I mean, to, surrender one's own life, not out of causing harm, but by the willingness to say, take the harm on yourself if it will save even one more life. And what mother wouldn't do that? What father wouldn't do that? What grandparent wouldn't do that in a second? But unfortunately, we don't always get those kinds of clear moral choices. So it's very hard to judge anybody else's choice in those kinds of moments. It's part of the madness of war. Thank you. Thank you, Beatrice. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Jon. Looking at the clock, just checking with you if you want to continue, if you want to take one more, or if we should stop here.
Well, I never want to stop once we get going and we see the hands. I mean, it's like, but I think that wisdom would say, and also my other obligations might say that, how about we, maybe I won't say anything and we'll just take the people whose hands are up, nobody else raise your hands, and just, can you quickly say something that you want to say? Not so much a question for me, but just an expression of whatever it is that you originally raised your hand for. And we'll just do that with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. And then I'm going to just express a little bit of gratitude to Perry and Tomas, and then hand it back over to you. Would that work?
Yeah.
Even though we've gone way over time, we still have 525, hearts beating here on the Zoom page. And it's like, just warms my heart, I'll tell you that. So let's just do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Barbara.
Thank you. This heart is beating very fast. So yeah, I want to say thank you for Perry and Thomas, because oftentimes I feel completely helpless. And it suddenly showed me they haven't stood by and done nothing. They've taken action. So thank you for that, because it's touched me and it's given me a way of stabilizing myself. So I've decided now to take action. And what I'm going to do, the words of Thich Nhat Hanh and Gandhi and walking for peace. So in my local community, I've decided I'm going to offer a walk for peace in the evening and see what happens. One step at a time. Thank you, everyone.
Good evening. I'm Birgit from Munich, and I would also like to just ask everybody who's in Europe to do whatever they can to help those people who come to your cities right now from Ukraine with nothing much more on them, or with not much more on them than their naked lives. I've seen people arriving in my own neighborhood, and it helped me extremely to be able to offer as little as I can, if it's only some help in studying German or in sharing a family pass, which gives some opportunity in the city to people who have just arrived. And this is something that has helped me enormously cope with the situation, which is unbearable in an emotional way. So whoever has people arriving nearby can really do a small thing. It can be a spare pair of winter boots. It can be a meal that you invite people to, or it can be just a friendly gesture, or showing people around your hometown if it's nothing more than you can do. It's a gesture of welcome for people who've had a really hard time, and it's a way of engaging and of bringing the love we all need to those people who need it most right now. And I also say thank you to Jon, and I say thank you to Perry and Thomas, and to all of you here. It's helped me enormously being part of tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful suggestions. Okay, Bill.
Oh, okay. Bill from Canada, Bill Ashby. I'm up in north of Toronto. I attended the COVID retreat seminars, and it was just very important to me, and it inspired me to write just a little thing that I'll repeat if I could. It's like a little poem. It's eternal love. Cherish love that was, for it is everlasting. Cultivate love that is growing. Cultivate love that is, for it is ever growing. Have peace of mind in knowing that love to be is a seed that dwells within you, which will spring to life as nourished by the love you have for life. And anyways, I was inspired to put those words together after your retreat and going through all of the retreat, and it was so important. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Wendy?
Thank you. I just want to say I really feel the pain, and I guess the pain of the people in Ukraine and Russia and all over. But I also feel inspired. My father was 18 years old when he landed on the shores of Normandy, and fortunately survived too, so I'm here now. But I was really inspired, like what strikes me as what's possible. And I really love what you said, Jon, about because I feel like, where do I start? But I find 5 things. So I remember it's like you're always saying just this moment. And I really like that, just treat people with dignity. So I want to find and treat just this person, like in this moment, today, every day. Just think about I'm treating someone with dignity, and that seed is spread. And I have that experience because from a friend was given to me this morning, Barbara, who's on this call, her husband, Bernie. I just shared something with her, and I was treated with dignity, so I know what that's like. But I guess for me, I'll take just this moment and just this person, and that's one step. And we're also hopefully taking people in our homes, in our house when they arrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to say, I was born the day before your father landed on the Normandy beaches. So there's been this kind of arc right through my entire life of like one war after another. And that's true for all of us. That, you know, war has been just part of our lives, whether we ignore it or attend to it. There's always war going on someplace. And it's no longer tenable. We just have to put a stop to it. Thank you. And I'm glad that you're here because, you know, it's
very much.
It's always a life is always hanging by a thread. And so we really need to honor the preciousness of it. So the only thing I want to say, and thank you everybody who's gotten the microphone. And I know that many of you, I saw your hands up, but you haven't gotten the microphone. And I just want to say there will be other times, I'm sure, but your presence, the very fact that you showed up and that you've stayed so long, and for many of you, it's very late at night, is just deeply, deeply felt. And I am very, very happy to have once again laid eyes on your faces as I've scrolled through the various gallery views. And I want to thank Perry and Tomas for, in some sense, being the inheritors, if you will, of the mitigation retreat that's already 18 months old or something like that. And in some sense, you know, giving birth to another community that's in parallel to those three months of our meeting every day. And through the difficulties as well as the beauty of it, just sustaining this kind of intentionality around being whole, recognizing our wholeness, recognizing our profound interconnectedness, and in this instance, setting the tone of today with the Please Call Me by My True Names poem of Thich Nhat Hanh's. So I'll turn it back over to you, Perry and Tomas, and just with a deep bow of gratitude on the part of all of us, and really on the part of the world, for the sake of the world, that you care so much to extend this map of love, if you will, or mapping of love inwardly and outwardly to encircle the world and engage all our hearts.
Yeah, thank you so much, John. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for all your words. Thank you for your caring and for your presence, for your loving presence. And thank you all for being here. All of you joining us here in this one room, here on this one earth. We all are one. And I was, do you like to add more words? Or
Yeah, please continue, Maria.
yeah, I was just thinking over and over again of the 4 great vows, or the 4 bodhisattva vows, and I was also thinking about or of a poem by Emily Dickinson, and I would love to just read those texts. So the 4 great vows, the bodhisattva vows. are so important. So, sentient beings are numberless. We vow to save them all. Delusions are endless. We vow to cut through them all. The teachings are infinite. We vow to learn them all. The Buddha way is inconceivable. We vow to attain it. So this is the one. And then I find that a poem by Emily Dickinson also points to that and goes so well with that. She wrote, "If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life the aching, or cool the pain, or help one fainting robin unto his nest again, I shall not live in vain." So both texts really show that even if we think that maybe sometimes we feel ourselves helpless, maybe we think that we cannot do anything about something, but the thing is to really keep on doing what we can do and really to do this out of our being, out of our hearts, and not to close our hearts, because automatically our hearts want to close when we recognize pain or suffering. And the thing is to open up even more the heart, even more to be able to contain that all and to let it be held in awareness. So thank you all for being here and for sharing this time and this room together. It feels like home, and it really feels as if we could just reach out and touch each other.
Yeah.
Sending out so much love to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And what I could just imagine when we go to gallery view now, what we can do now is to put our hands on the sides of the screens. So when you see yourself on the screen and you touch with your palms the sides of the screen, so this looks as if we are all connected, as if we are really all touching our hands. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we continue the daily practice, and you're very, very welcome to join. And take care, sending lots of love to you all. And Jon, do you want to add more to that?
Just one word. Dankeschön.
Von Herzen gern.
Genau.
Thank you so much for being together.
Bye-bye. And thank you, Perry. Thank you, Tomas. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Our hearts are all beating in unison. And I think the world is already a better place for it. Let's extend ourselves as far as we can possibly extend the boundlessness of our true selves for the sake of all beings. And thank you for the Bodhisattva vows. Yeah, the fact that they're impossible is the point.
Yes. Yes. Sending lots of love to you all. Bye. And now, yes, you can unmute yourself now and say goodbye. Yeah.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thanks.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Love you.
Bye.
So much.
Thank you so much, Thomas.
Everybody. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Jose.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Everyone.
Muchas gracias.
Our hearts are
beating in unison.
Obrigada.
Muchas gracias.
Tchau. Tchau, Giti.
Bye.
Peace to everyone.
Tchau, Giti.
Muchas gracias.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.